Hey everybody, today I'm going to do a DIY project. My project is to take a pair of jeans that I've had and I'm going to dye them. They're a pair of wider leg trouser jeans and I think that they're too light. So I'm going to make them a little bit darker. So follow along with me and let's see how this project turns out. These are my pants that I'm going to dye today. They're just a pair of wide leg jeans. They're a little bit in the trouser style. I've had them for a while and I really do like them. They're super comfortable, but as you can tell they're lighter wash denim, and I think that if I darken them up I'll get a lot more wear out of them. So I read in Lucky Magazine this month step-by-step instructions on how to dye jeans. So I'm going to try it and we'll see if it works. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is fill this big pot with water. The article said to use a pan that you don't really cook in, and I actually found this pan out in the garage. So I'm not sure how big it is. It'll definitely fit a pair of jeans in it. So the first thing I'm going to do is add the water in there. After my water comes to a simmer, then I'm going to add my dye. I'm just using RIT dye, which is what they suggested for jeans. I'm using navy blue. This was not expensive at all. I believe it was less than $2 at Walmart, and it's in the laundry, by the laundry detergent. So as soon as my water comes to a simmer, then I'm going to add my dye. So my water's come to a simmer, and it's time for me to put my dye in. And I just wanted to show you, this is what it looks like when you take it out of the box. Nothing very fancy or anything. I also wanted to tell you that while my water was simmering, I did stir it a little bit to make sure that all the salt had dissolved. So let me get my dye into my water. Alright, here's my simmering water. You can see all the steam coming off of it, and I'm just going to pour my dye in it. It looks almost black in the water, as you can tell. And I'm going to start, I actually was going to start with a wooden spoon, but I don't think I am because I think the spoon will turn blue. So I'm going to start with a plastic spatula, and hopefully my spatula will not turn blue, but I don't know, we'll see. So I'm going to stir that up and get it mixed really well. And then this next step, they say, is to get your jeans completely wet in warm water. Oh, I might have a blue spatula at that. So I'm going to go get my jeans all ready, and then we'll stick it in the water and see what happens next. Alright, my jeans are all wet. I got them completely wet in warm water. Make sure you get the tag on the inside and the pockets, and then make sure you wring it out really well, is what the directions said. So now I'm going to stick it in my pot. Ow, I burned my finger and I dropped my spatula, so you might want to be more careful. And then we're going to make sure that we get this whole thing underwater, because we want it to try to be, the color to be even all the way around. So I may need to work on this a little bit. So let me work on getting this whole thing submerged, and then we'll come back and see what happens. Alright, now you see my crazy concoction here that I've come up with, because I don't know if I didn't have enough water in my pot or the pants just float. I don't know, but my solution was I took some old coffee cups that I really don't care if they get dyed blue, because as you can tell that one was white and it's already starting to turn blue. And I filled them up with water and stuck it on top of my jeans, because that's the only thing I could think of to keep my jeans submerged. Also, be really careful when you're working with this, because if you splash any out and it gets on your countertop or your tile, it will turn it whatever color dye you're using. And as you can tell, my spatula is going to be blue, but that's okay. It's a pretty blue. So I don't know if you'll have this problem or not, but this was my solution. I just took the old coffee cups, filled them with water, and set them on top of the jeans so that they would submerge. Now the directions say, excuse me, the directions say to leave it for 20, let me see, let me look real quick, hold on. Alright, my pants have been in there for 10 minutes now, so I'm going to show you the color. It's pretty dark. You can see even the seams. Well, let's see if I can turn it to better light. Even the seams, which were once white, have turned a little bit blue. So I'm going to leave it in for another 10, and then I think it'll be dark enough for what I want. So let me go ahead and leave it in for another 10, and we'll see what they look like in 10 more minutes. They may be black by then, I don't know. So I'll see you in 10. So I left them in for another 10 minutes, and as you can tell, I think this is dark enough. I don't think I need to leave it in for 20 more minutes. So the next step is to turn the stove off and let them sit for 20 minutes and let the water cool down. So I will see you in 20 minutes. Okay, so I let my pants cool for 20 minutes and then I dumped the water outside. The article said to dump it in your tub, but I really didn't want to end up with a blue tub, so I dumped most of my water outside in the back. We have some woods in the back. So now you just see I have my pants, and what I'm going to do is stick them in the tub and then rinse them until they run clear. So let me get them laid out in the tub for you, and you can see what color they turned out to be. Alright, so I have my pants laid out in the tub, and as you can see, they definitely came out darker than before I dyed them. So what I'm going to do now is rinse them. They said to continue to rinse until the water that you were rinsing them with was clear. So that's my next step, and when I'm done with that, I'll let you see what color they turned out to be. So here are my jeans after I got them all rinsed out. And I have to tell you that the rinsing part is probably the hardest part of this whole little do-it-yourself project. I rinsed them probably for about 3 minutes, and the water was pretty clear. I think what I'm going to do, the directions said to let them dry overnight. So after they're dry, I think I'm going to throw them in the washer on a quick cycle on cold, and then hang them up and dry again and see what happens. So for now, I'm going to leave you, and when I get to the finished product, I'll be back and show you what happened. So here are my jeans. They're all dry and ironed, and they turned out really, really well, I think. Let's see if I can get a full shot. I don't think I can. But as you can tell, they turned out really dark, which I'm very glad that's what I wanted. So I believe my project was a success. Hi everybody, so you saw my jeans and I think they turned out really well. So what I wanted to do now is give you some tips that I learned along the way. So I apologize for looking down, but I don't want to miss anything out on my list. So the first one is definitely wear rubber gloves. I didn't put my gloves on until about halfway through the project, and by that time my fingers were already turning blue. So definitely get a pair of rubber gloves, especially when you're rinsing your pants out in the tub, because the dye just goes on forever and ever and ever. So definitely get a pair of rubber gloves that you don't care about. Second, when you're stirring your pants around in the pot, make sure that you use a spatula or a spoon that you don't care if it gets dye on it, because now I have a nice purple spatula. Let's see, the next thing is make sure that when you do have your pants or shirt or whatever it is that you're dyeing, that you really do stir it around and unfold and fold the fabric, because what happened to me is when I first took my pants out, I had a couple of little places up at the top of the jeans that didn't get dye on them, because I think it was the way I had them folded in there. So I just unfolded them and laid that part back in the dye for a little bit so that could absorb the same amount of dye as the rest of them. So make sure you really unfold and fold your clothes as you're going through the dyeing process. Let's see, next, when I was doing my rinsing out in the tub, I showed you that I was going to leave my pants in the tub to dry overnight, and I definitely put a towel down under the pants just because I didn't know if the tub would absorb the dye or what. The next day I went in to get my jeans. They were still soaking wet. So what I did is I put them in the, let me get this right, in the washing machine, and I put them on the rinse cycle just to get whatever little bit of dye was left out, and then it spun them pretty clean, not clean, what am I saying? Oh my gosh. It spun out all the extra water. So then I put them in the dryer and I put them on a low heat, and they came out just fine. Let's see, the next thing, make sure that you wear old clothes when you do this, especially when you're rinsing out your shirt or your jeans or whatever it is that you're dyeing in the tub, because the dye splashes everywhere. And also have that rag with you when you're rinsing it out in the tub, because you want to wipe down your tub area, because like I said, it splashes everywhere. So those are my basic tips. Would I do this again? I think I would, and I actually think I have a pair of pants that I know what I'm going to do, and I think I'm going to try to dye them a lighter color this time. So it'll be interesting to see how the process, if it's different or not. So anyway, I hope that helps you, and I hope it inspires you to go dye something in your closet. Bye!